Hey guys, Trent Allen here of Igneo Studios along with Grayson here, and we just finished Wednesday on Netflix. And I know I put out on a YouTube short that we were going to do this way earlier, but things came up, other stuff happened, but here we are. So, this show's been out for about, a few months now or something?
November.
So, a couple months or so, and so we'll just go through spoilers just as an offhand thing because the show's been out long enough. So spoiler warning if you haven't seen it, but they're gonna be there. So this is the I got no words right now. Please help me. This show was on Netflix and it was announced, and I wasn't too excited because I wasn't into Addams Family very well. I vaguely remember the old 90s movie.
Movies, yeah.
90s movie. I only remember vaguely the first one. I didn't care
They're
for the
also
rest.
on Netflix.
Yeah, they're all on Netflix. The only other thing that I know of Addams Family was the musical, which I was part of with the production for my university.
And then, of course, the Addams Family theme that everyone knows.
Yeah, but other than that, I didn't really care too much of the Addams Family.
I didn't really either. The only thing that really made me gravitate towards this series was Jenna Ortega because everything she's been in within recent times, she's done a really good job in. She was in my opinion, she was really good in Scream 5. I can't wait to see her in Scream 6 when that comes out this year.
And yeah, Jenna Ortega is the lead role of Wednesday Addams in this show, and gotta be honest, she was probably the best part of the whole show.
Her and Enid and Christine.
And
Gwen.
Gwendolyn. There's a lot of big names in this show. Only like a few technically, because it's mainly a lot of younger actors.
And a lot of underknown ones. Even Jenna Ortega is kind of underknown in the spectrum of things right now. She's just now broken out in like two big roles, which is the one for Scream and then this one.
So. And it's got a pretty good cast. It has Gwendolyn Christie as a main role. If you don't know her, Brienne of Tarth of Game of Thrones, and Lucifer Morningstar and The Sandman on Netflix.
Yep.
Which we also watched. Really good. You guys, please check it out.
Can't wait for season 2.
Also has Christina. Also has Christina Ricci, the Wednesday Addams from the old '90s movie, which I was very surprised at.
And that was just a really cool reference.
And the best thing about this for me was that this is an 8-episode series, and half of it is directed by Tim Burton. Mm-hmm. I was very excited about that because I love Tim Burton and how he directs.
I love his works.
And this show is, from a technical standpoint, production value and whatnot, sound design, fantastic. Score, fantastic. Jenna Ortega herself is a very talented actress.
Yes, she really portrayed someone who is absent towards the world really well, which is hard to sell besides you just looking dead all the time. But she really pulled it off as someone who is really drawn back from society and people, and seeing what she does with all of that and later on showing emotion here and there is so well done that's like the best parts in the series for me is whenever she really starts to take down the walls, at least just for a second.
Just to get it out of the way, yes, you do see the rest of the Addams Family. They're not major parts because this is her show.
Yeah, Wednesday.
But you do get Gomez, Morticia, Pugsley, Lurch, and Uncle Fester. Mm-hmm. The main Addams Family member that does accompany her is Thing, the hand.
The hand.
The neat thing about this show is that it has supernatural elements. Mm-hmm.
Not super heavy. Well, I mean, technically it's really heavy because the school itself, but it still doesn't really delve into the supernatural pretty heavy, at least not until the final few episodes.
Yeah. But acting is fantastic in this show. Mm-hmm. Back to the production stuff. Acting is fantastic in this show. Yeah. Again, Jenna Ortega is probably the best part of this. Oh, pardon me. Makeup really well done with a lot of the characters.
Oh, yeah. Especially Enid's makeup and like just her character design is really well done. Especially like her painting her nails as she is a werewolf.
Yeah, she's a werewolf in this show, and she does. It's very cute that she paints her nails and those end up being claws, and I think that's really cool for me. There is a lot of supernatural creatures as students of this academy that Wednesday is part of. For example, gorgons from Greek mythology, werewolves, vampires, sirens, yada yada. Besides the point, the production value of this show is very well done. Oh, yeah. CG at times is a little but it doesn't.
They also didn't use a heavy amount of CG.
It was mainly practical. Thing is an
animatronic.
Yeah, if you didn't know, Thing was not CG or mocap. It was an animatronic, and I thought that was I thought that was really cool. So cool thing about this show is its great production value. I can't really say too much about the production value after that.
Yeah. The soundtrack was really well done, especially the main theme of the show, which is its own take on the Addams Family theme song and just a musical style. Also, I gotta say, some of my favorite parts, sadly don't go past episode 4, last episode with Tim Burton, are cello numbers of very popular metal songs.
She does a cover of... I forgot what it was.
I know one of them is Paint It Black.
Paint It Black by Metallica. Mm-hmm. And I know there was another one, but
Thunderstruck she does. She does Thunderstruck.
By AC/DC. And those were just... It hit me with nostalgia because I love those songs. Mm-hmm. And this show has a lot of great stuff in it. Let's briefly go over the plot real quick. Mm-hmm. Pugsley, in first episode, Pugsley gets bullied, gets thrown into a locker, and cries like a wimp. Yeah, and let's be honest, Pugsley wouldn't stand for that. It's Pugsley. He'd probably get off on it and or have a grenade ready.
Yes.
The Addams Family are just that borderline psychotic. And Wednesday, to get revenge for her sweet brother, throws piranhas in the pool.
Yep.
Where the blues are.
None of them die.
Thankfully.
Sadly.
What?
I'm just saying what Wednesday said.
Damn. Then, as a result, she gets expelled from her high school, was it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, high school, and she's sent to a boarding school called Nevermore Academy in the town Jericho, which is a pretty... I don't know. The name, throws me off.
When I heard Jericho, the name, I was like, is this connected to the Jericho show, which was about a nuclear apocalypse? Yes, that was on Netflix.
I was going on Detroit Become Human. That's subplot. Never mind. She goes to the Nevermore Academy, and obviously she's kind of ridiculed, ostracized by the other popular people.
Because she's an Addams, which the Addams aren't very popular with them because they are actually really bleak, dark, and slightly murderous.
And they don't really have powers or any supernatural abilities, though that is immediately rectified with Wednesday's character, which we'll get into.
And her mother.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Instantly becomes enemies with a few of the popular sorts.
Especially the main siren.
Who's not a bad character.
No,
her name's Bianca, played by Joyce Sunday. She did a really good job with this role. I love the contacts with the eyes, very Grey-esque, and it just really sold it for me. That's just another nod to the great makeup in this show. But they get into a cool fencing match. Wednesday says, "I rule by blood. Whoever draws first blood is the winner."
Mm-hmm.
And
she actually doesn't win.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what threw me off, you really want to start making this type of stuff now?
Enemies now? Yeah, it's in Wednesday fashion.
Yeah, so I wasn't too surprised, but I was also why? But she doesn't win. by the skin of her teeth. She was doing actually really well.
Oh yeah.
Meets her new roomie, which she completely redecorates their dorm room. Basically, they do the literal, like, you take one half, I take the other half. Yeah. And her roommate is one of the most colorful people there, Enid, the werewolf. And it's just, the two personalities clashing is just so good. It's great chemistry.
It is. It's probably the best chemistry in the show, which is also where other stuff comes from within the community. I'm not going to get into that, but...
That's a whole other rabbit hole.
Yeah. But they have the best chemistry in the series, and their relationship is really what drives home for me specifically, because whenever they interact, it's like very back and forth, but in the wholesome and good way, instead of just like bickering in a really terrible like I hate you way. Even though Wednesday tries to solidify that no, I hate you because you're so colorful.
Yeah, because Wednesday's a very bleak person who just...
Like I said, with Jenna Ortega's performance,
really sells it.
Well, not just that, but she is a very dark person who cares nothing of the world besides just murder.
And whatever other things will
and whatever whatever appeases her, whatever excites her, I guess, is
appeals to her.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool concept. What we were just about to get into. Wednesday is then revealed in the same episode, I think, or the next episode.
At least episode 2.
And you kind of just go back and forth on episode 1, where it's just kind of setting it all up. Meets other students who have powers. Meets a telekinetic person who's
Rowan.
Little
cray.
They have as classic stuff like this type of show goes. Harvest Festival happens, and Wednesday gets cornered by Rowan because apparently he has a prophecy of a book that was written 20 years ago
by his mother,
saying that there's a prophecy saying that a girl like you is going to destroy the school, blah blah blah, that type of stuff. Tries to kill her because he has the Force. Apparently tried to kill her twice because a stone he moved didn't really work.
Didn't time it perfectly.
Yeah, didn't time it perfectly, and tries to do it again until he's killed by a very murderous monster. And that's about how the episode ends, I believe. And basically, Wednesday goes through the show just trying to figure out what the monster is, why it's killing people. It's a big murder mystery.
And then it evolves into more conspiracy things within the town itself.
And it gets real interesting as the show goes on. And then how it goes for me is from episode 1 to 5, maybe 6, it really good uphill. Then it stagnates to the end of it, and it doesn't go down, but that's where it peaks, and then it's just there. As any teen drama goes, obviously they're gonna have a prom dance and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Which we'll get into in a second. Throughout the show, she meets a barista or something like that, a coffee shop barista named Tyler, who's one of the locals, who's the son of the local sheriff, who has a grudge against her father, Gomez Adams, and they end up bonding a bit from just simple talking to hey, drive me to this place and we'll figure something out. Yeah. She asks for a favor quite a bit. She asks a lot of favors. Before we continue, I want to give a brief note to Gwendolyn Christie's performance as the Principal Weems. Fantastic performance. And if I'm not mistaken, this was one of the first roles where Gwendolyn Christie actually wore a lot of makeup.
It is.
Because she's mainly in more masculine, is that the right word?
Yeah, it's more she's in more masculine roles, but not as a man per se.
Brianna Tarth is the tough
man-like woman in Game of Thrones. Because she's a knight.
In Sandman,
she's Lucifer Morningstar, which Lucifer in the comics is an actual male, but the casting choice wasn't a problem for me because I knew Gwendolyn would do a great job.
Yeah. And considering Tom Ellis portrayed the same character, but in his own show.
Yeah.
And it would have really clashed the different personalities.
Yeah.
But regardless, from if I remember correctly, that this was one of the first shows that she was able to
like make
girl doll up, I should say. But I thought it was great. But back to it. I don't remember this plot very well. I'm not gonna lie. We just finished it, and it was like a long time. We got past like episode 4, and then it kind of just had a big wait time to finish it off.
Because we started it almost on release. No, on release, I remember.
Yeah, and then we kind of just fell off for those couple months, and now it's just now it's just kind of bringing it back.
Well, the big points of the plot for the first 4 episodes, because those are the ones he's having trouble remembering, are Wednesday's trying to find out who the monster is, and she has some guesses here and there. She's also dealing with therapy because, throwing a bunch of piranhas into a pool isn't looked
not very
up
sane
upon in the realm of humanity.
That's not very sane at all.
But it's the Addams. When are they ever sane?
I don't know. You tell me. But
she goes through all of that, and she meets with another outcast within the academy, and I forgot his name. I'm not gonna lie.
Which one are you referring to? The artist?
No, the only other one, the one that she actually got attached to.
Oh, Eugene. He was meets up, joins a social club in the school because clubs how they work. She ends up meeting Eugene, a beekeeper.
Yep.
Basically, and she just joins because why the hell
because she was told that she had to join a club, so she joined the club that had the least amount of people, which was just with him.
Yeah, because no one likes him. Poor guy. But basically, yeah, just classic teen like high school stuff kind of happening.
With also solving the plot, because throughout the entire time, Wednesday is trying to find out who the killer was, which delves into finding out more of what happened, what's happened in the society of the city, the town, not city. And her and Eugene team up a lot to go investigate things. They investigate a cave, and it just evolves from there into them trying to find out, and then Eugene gets hurt. And
by the monster.
Yeah.
Eugene gets hurt because Wednesday didn't go with him because they find evidence to a cave. Eugene goes off on his own
to stake out the cave.
Basically, while she's at the dance because Shang had to be a wingman.
But at the worst possible time.
Yes, but the plot must continue. And we get probably one of the most popular scenes in the whole show. It's
Wednesday's Dance.
Where Jenna Ortega took inspiration from the old '60s show, from the '90s movie, and whatever she did on her own.
Yeah, and she choreographed it herself in 2 nights.
That's crazy dedication.
Yeah,
and it's probably the most talked about and popular scene in the show because it just screams Wednesday Addams. You show don't tell.
Yep.
That's like the epitome of that, and obviously, people on YouTube or TikTok, they made memes about it, calling it the Sigma dance, and they compare it to other Sigma...
to Patrick Bateman's dance.
Sigma dancers like Tyler Durman from Fight Club, Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, Leo DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street. It's just... I thought it was just hilarious.
It is.
But the dance itself is really... Again, very well choreographed and just screams Wednesday. Good. We get a couple subplots here and there. It's just classic teen stuff. You'll see it coming like a mile away, unless you're not really paying attention.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite episodes is they go into a kayak. They go kayaking. It's a race within the school, and it's actually a very popular race. Wednesday's mother
won 4
times. And something that's sprinkled into this plot kinda is that Wednesday is sent there to kinda live up to her mother, but she doesn't want to because she wants to be her own person.
And I know a lot of fans of the series will not like that because in the actual, comics, the cartoons that they made, Wednesday and Morticia are very close together.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a neat little twist because, coming of age, you're going to be a little bit more.
And usually Wednesday in the comics and stuff, she's usually depicted as at around 10, around that area, give or take. And then this show depicts her in her teens, so it's that whole teen rebel phase. And they even kind of offhandedly mentioned that this is her rebel phase type of thing.
Yeah, and I think it's a neat little idea.
And it's also how you evolve a character instead of just going with the same old trope.
And throughout the plot, Wednesday gets visions because she is apparently a psychic, inherited from her mother Morticia.
Mm-hmm.
Because this show delves with supernatural elements, it only makes sense.
Yeah,
I chalk it up that I guess anything's possible. And her visions basically show her basically seizing up and seeing something.
Yep. Which also another just great thing for Jenna Ortega. Just her performance as Wednesday and just those type of scenes where it's very visceral and it's just really well executed with everything from her as Wednesday.
Best character's thing though. That hand is the GOAT in everything. Continuing, we get to meet Uncle Fester in this iteration of the story.
In episode 6.
In episode 6. And apparently he has electrical abilities. Mm-hmm. He can shoot lightning out of his hands, I guess. Unlimited power, maybe?
Unlimited power. He is bald.
Oh my god.
Darth Sidious?
Oh no. But yeah, it's a cool little episode with him. Mm-hmm. We get before that though, episode 5, Gomez and Morticia get into legal trouble because Gomez was accused of murder a long time ago, saving Morticia's life. Ended up being a weird switch around where Morticia was the one that did it, but Gomez basically showed himself instead to protect her. Chad and a simp
at the same time.
And it's revealed that it was connected to the oldest family who were major racists against the outcasts, which is what the supernatural students are. They're known as outcasts. Mm-hmm. Goes all the way back to the Pilgrim days.
Yeah, because witchery and stuff like that.
Yeah, but yeah, throughout this plot, Wednesday gets visions of her great ancestor from those days, named Goody Adams, who's also played by Jenna Ortega, which is pretty cool.
And I like that she did a different accent.
Yeah, she did a pilgrimage accent. Mm-hmm. It was good.
And
it's revealed that that the oldest family was connected to a guy named Krogstad.
I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie. Crackle Barrel. That's it.
Well, this pilgrim guy was a notorious racist, tried to kill all the outcasts, yada yada. Goody Adams stopped him, caused a whole other thing. And it's just continued on. The conspiracy gets really more into it whenever episode 6 really kind of kicks that in.
Yeah.
While Wednesday and Uncle Fester are out, Thing is told to guard a diary that Wednesday and Fester find that highlights what this monster is. It is revealed that this monster is a Hyde, as in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yep. Something I like about the show is it makes a lot of references to other literary quote-unquote masterpieces. Makes reference to, of course, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but by literally showing the book, and also in another scene in the last episode.
I think they mentioned Agatha Christie at one point. I'm not sure, but...
And then there was another one that I had called out while we were watching it today. I forgot.
I forgot too, not gonna lie. Man, when you really want to think about it, it's just not there.
Yeah.
But Thing is attacked and mortally wounded, literally stabbed through the hand.
Stabbed through the hand, which, he's only a hand, so when he gets stabbed in the little hand, that's death, kind of.
Essentially. Wednesday takes Thing to Uncle Fester. He defibrillates with his fingers. Mm-hmm. Does the whole, clear. Yeah. Revives him, but during that whole thing, we
see the first emotion from Wednesday.
Because, it is part of her family.
And not just family, but this is the one that has really stood by her side. Well, her parents, they still care about her, and her brother too. They still care about her, but her parents kind of threw her off to go do her thing. And Morticia kind of wanted her to, quote unquote, follow in her footsteps, but not fully at the same time.
And Gomez says that he wishes he could have been a better father at times, but Wednesday kind of reassures him that
you taught me. What other parent would put a fencing sword into a 5-year-old hand?
And it's a really wholesome, good moment. Mm-hmm. But Wednesday's emotional streak with things, apparent demise, and
it was really good.
It was really good. Her acting was mwah, chef's kiss, just yeah.
Also, something that I love at the end, I'll come back to it, but I love that she doesn't like anyone hugging her, let alone just touching her in general, Wednesday, throughout the series, and it comes up later in the final episode, but I think it's really cool.
How they do it. Lost my train of thought. Wednesday suspects a few people that you could probably see the suspicions go, but also other people.
The two biggest suspicions for her are the character Xavier, who is a painter artist,
who has the power to bring his drawings to life,
to quote unquote life, and then her own therapist. She has the suspicion of being the secondary counterpart to the murders,
because apparently in this show a Hyde needs a master
to control it, to manipulate it, to do what the master wants.
Yeah, and I guess that's neat. It's a new take on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. One is the Jekyll and one's the Hyde. Mm-hmm. I guess that's a neat take on it. Mm-hmm. But it's revealed that the therapist is not the case. Mm-hmm. Xavier is not the case. Mm-hmm. And it's just a big whole thing, and you're like, oh, did she really get it? Mm-hmm. The barista Tyler that she's been acquainting with this entire show, you could see. I'm gonna just say the shippers. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. You could see it happening. There is a relationship growing, and when it finally happens, she gets a massive vision that it is actually
her therapist getting killed by the monster.
It's revealed that the monster is
Tyler.
He is the Hyde because his mother was a Hyde, and just a whole other thing going on. Mm-hmm. The next episode, it really kind of comes full circle, where it's revealed that the Jekyll side is not the therapist or anybody else. It's actually Christina Ricci's character,
which I found funny, but also yeah.
Okay. Named Thornhill, who's actually just an alias to the character Laurel Gates, connected to the Gates family that were the notorious racists that tried the.
Yeah, because it leads back to Crackstone. I think it's Crackstone.
Thank you. I think it's Crackstone.
But yeah, the big summon bad, like Sauron type of, you summon him at the end bad.
Yeah. It's revealed that Christina Ricci wants to get revenge on all this stuff happening.
Especially on the Adams specifically, because of Goody Adams
defeating Crackstone and her brother dying to the Adams family. In self-defense.
Yeah, in full self-defense. He was dying before he even got impaled by the sword.
Yeah, that was your own fault, dude. That was your own fault. Even if you did something, what's that gonna do? If you got caught, you were gonna be charged for murder. Bruh. But, the last episode kind of kicks in the action department.
And, Supernatural really, heightens.
And, it's, when Wednesday confronts Christina Ricci, Laurel Gates, she had her principal, Gwendolyn Christie's character, Principal Lee.
She's a shapeshifter in the series.
In the series. And it was a really neat idea, and she eavesdropped everything, disguised as Tyler, because he's the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And Christina Ricci stabs her in the neck with a syringe.
Full of the nightshade poison.
Yeah, with poison. You got the drop on a 6 foot tall woman, and she didn't see that coming. You wound that thing up.
We made a joke that, and this isn't actually in the behind the scenes because when you reach up, you have a higher reach than your own height. But we made a joke that to get up to her neck for the scene, she probably jumped.
Right. If that's what actually happened, that'd be hilarious, but I doubt it. Yeah. But it's a little funny joke we made up. Weems dies of the poisoning, and Wednesday's taken. They resurrect Cragstone because apparently Goody had a blood oath thing to keep him sealed.
Yeah, that only someone within the Addams family could.
Or her line specifically. Yeah. And it turns out it's Wednesday. She gets her hand cut, opens it, bam.
He comes back.
Big bad guy comes back, and apparently he's a wizard, I guess.
He has magic.
He has a magic staff.
Yeah, he's Gandalf.
Oh my god, no! He's Sour Man at least. They get into a big confrontation. Tyler, in his Hyde form, tries to
kill
Enid. Or no, wait. No, it was Wednesday. They confronted her at the forest. He transforms, but turns out Enid and Thing went after them.
Yes, something that's early on in the show is you have to wolf out within this universe to become a werewolf, and there's something called late bloomers and stuff. Enid is a late bloomer, and throughout the entire series, she is kind of sad that she can't wolf out, but not at the same time because she doesn't really want it. And it gets in episode 5 or 6. Her parents show up. Five, yeah, because the Addams come too. Her parents show up, and her mom really, really wants her to finally wolf out, to be a wolf, a werewolf, be normal within her own family, and gives her pamphlets of to go to a summer camp for lycanthropy, so she can become a werewolf finally. And she rejects it full-heartedly. She's done with it. She just wants to be loved by her family. And then, cool moment, the entire time her father's there, he does not talk. But when they're finally leaving, and after Enid's made her choice that I don't want this, her father's like, I have always been proud of you. I'm just like,
I'm proud of you, kiddo. And I made a joke that turns out his voice is the deepest one out of it is. His voice is the deepest out of all of them.
He also looks like your generic lumberjack.
It's hilarious. It's great.
So back to episode 8.
She wolfs out finally.
Yeah, she finally wolfs out, and it's actually not a horrible design.
For werewolves?
Yeah. And something that I like is because she has dyed hair, the dyed hair carries over, like her hair, normal hair.
Carries over to the wolf.
To the wolf.
So you see the pigments, because she has like a Harley Quinn style, like...
It's pink and blue.
Yeah, and you see that in the wolf, and I'm just like, that's funny.
And then even once they, like, because her wolf form tackles Tyler's hide, and she turns around to look at Wednesday, and Wednesday's like, Enid?
And then they get into an epic fight, and it doesn't. It's all right. They do cut a couple times, and it's a little but it's not too bad. It doesn't last very long at all.
A good chunk of the fights really don't. The longest fight in the series is the fencing fight in episode 1.
Yeah. So then they get back to the school. Cragstone's trying to. He's messing everything up with his little super staff, and Wednesday grabs a sword and starts sword fighting the dude.
The same sword that that Gomez did not use, but her mom used.
But it's just it's good choreograph. Mm-hmm. It cut too many times for my liking at times.
For me it cut, but it didn't cut as bad as a lot of other fight scenes I've seen recently.
Fair. I'll give you that.
It cut just about as much as Extraction did for its fight scenes.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you that. Fight doesn't last long. It's kind of an easy victory if you really think about it, because all you had to do was just
stab him in the heart.
That's about it.
Yeah,
and that was an easy kill.
It is.
Way too easy.
Yeah, I will say that the ending is a little anticlimactic. The payoff of the ending I like, but the ending of the antag, the final boss, quote unquote, of the first season
Was very anticlimactic.
It's very anticlimactic. It's probably the last 2 episodes have a lot of strong points, but they are probably the weakest episodes out of the series.
And then Christina Ricci's character comes out with a Luger, I think, and ready to shoot Wednesday. And then a bunch of bees attack her because Eugene was originally hospitalized by Tyler's hide. Comes back. Apparently he can control insects, and he had a whole bunch of bees, and he just laid.
And then
we made constant jokes that you could probably tell the bees to buzz off now, so she doesn't die.
And we actually don't know if she's dead. Because there's nothing solidified if she's dead or not.
Wednesday kicks her head in.
Yeah, she.
Well, not literally that it kills her. Calm down, YouTube. But knocks her out basically.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if she's dead or alive. The last thing we see from her is that she gets kicked in the face by Wednesday.
And Tyler's taken into custody by his own dad. That's a bummer.
Yeah, I feel bad for him because he lost his wife
and his son now.
Yeah.
But. The big payoff of this of the series is that you get a great little send off to Wednesday. You don't if she coming back, maybe who knows. Mm-hmm. I hope so because there is another season coming.
It's confirmed that we're getting a season 2.
So I'm wondering what they're gonna do with this one. So
I am too. And one of the payoffs is throughout the entire series, Wednesday does not want to be hugged at all, and Enid after she is stripped of her clothing, but she has her jacket that she usually wears. She has it over her
because werewolf transformations.
Yeah,
don't
it tears off the clothes unless you've got special clothing.
Unless you have Hulk's pants, because Hulk's pants are the most indestructible things ever.
Yes, they are. That or Goku's pants.
You right.
Anyways, Enid comes back after she wins her fight against the Hyde. And she's in the crowd. She's everyone's worried about her because she's injured from the fight. And she wonders where Wednesday is. Wednesday and the others come walking through, and she runs up to Wednesday and hugs her. And Wednesday's like this, and she pushes her back. And then she actually embraces her, and it's a really heartfelt moment.
It's a great moment. Then the ending happens. Apparently, when Wednesday's in her limo, driven by the Great Lurch,
she gets a phone throughout the entire. She doesn't have a phone at all. She doesn't care.
21st century.
Yeah,
she uses a typewriter.
Yes, well, that's to write her story, but
still a typewriter.
Yes, but also typewriters are cool.
I know they're cool. Okay.
But Xavier gives her a phone for a late a late birthday present, and this is one of the things I'm I hope they explain, but she just gets this phone. The only number in her phone, the only one that has the number from her new phone is, at least close to the time of her leaving, Enid probably got her phone number too.
Probably.
But Xavier is the only one that has mentioned that.
It's funny that there is a bit of a love triangle going. I thought that was a little.
If you do the ship with the shipping community, that's a quad. It's a square.
Yeah, we're not going to get into it. That's too much of a rabbit hole to get into. Shipping in general is a rabbit hole that we do not want to get into.
No.
Trust me, there is a lot of bad
My Hero.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about My Hero. You just started something now.
All right.
But she gets a text with photos, and and the person that sent it saying, "I'm watching you."
Yeah.
What?
And I'm over here oh, cool, set up for a new villain. But also, how did you get her brand new, this day of phone number?
You must be a good hacker, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
But overall, the show is a neat, wild ride of great conspiracy, murder, mystery. It's got a very good Sherlock Holmes feel to it, with the hint of supernatural and Addams Family craziness.
Yeah. Yep. I quite enjoyed it. It's not my favorite thing ever, but I enjoyed it. I'm excited for season 2, especially Jenna Ortega and Emily Myers, Enid.
I think that the first 4 episodes are probably the strongest ones, directed by Tim Burton. Then
Yep.
you don't see the quality go down, but you don't see
the same quality
as Tim Burton, because Tim Burton, he goes all over the place, but he still keeps it coherent enough that
You
it's
can
like
follow.
it keeps
You
you
can follow.
keeps you guessing. The no bash on the directors on these
Oh,
episodes,
on
because
the-
they still did a great job,
yeah.
but it's like they just beelined it to the end of the story
Yeah.
instead of like making
The-
you think, because
the-
this is an 8-episode series. 4 episodes really it felt like there was gonna be like probably 10 more episodes because of how it was going.
Yeah.
And then they kind of beeline it to the end of it.
Which is okay. It's not horrible. But you can feel the little rush to it where they're like kind of just they go from boom 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 boom.
Yeah, especially in episode 7 and 8. They
really went for it.
They went full throttle, and it still paid off.
Yeah,
but,
it still paid off, and it wasn't like I said. It's not horrible. It's not even bad.
But you will feel it.
Yeah, you'll see it and feel it and be like. But one of the things I do also like is if you're not hyper observant, the twists of the villains with Tyler and
Christina Ricci's character.
and Christina Ricci's character are good. They're good twists that.
They kept you guessing, but
Yeah.
if you're hyper observant,
Then you'll notice it by episode 4. For Christina's character, you'll notice it by episode 6. But only if you're hyper observant. If you're not, you'll be like, "Hey, that's actually a cool."
so it's good.
twist."
It's a good little murder mystery.
Conspiracy thing, yeah.
But
with a little bit of drama into it.
And teen comedy. It's
Yeah.
it's got a great wild ride to it. So what would we rate this?
I give it an 8. I'd give it a strong 8.
And I'd be willing to agree with that. It's a good 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Do we recommend this? Absolutely.
It is good. It's definitely a watch for fans of the Addams Family and for people who are new to the Addams Family.
Yeah, and Netflix did a good job distributing this.
Yeah.
They've had a rocky reputation so far.
They have, but they have some really good gems out there. You've got Arcane, you've got Sandman,
And so many more.
All of Us Are Dead.
They and so many more. They've had a bad reputation with mainly just storyboard writers with stuff like The Witcher and whatnot. But we won't get into it.
Yeah, showrunners.
But it's mainly just it's that stuff. So it's cool to have Netflix get a dub for once. Not saying that they haven't had dubs, but about time they've had kind of a live action dub.
At least for this year, because there haven't been a great amount this year besides Arcane, because Arcane did come out this year.
Or last year.
Last year to this year, because it
Innocent.
was the separation of episodes.
But this is a strong 8 out of 10. Please give this show a watch.
Yeah.
And let us know in the comments what you thought of it, if you have seen it. And just, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Yep.
Peace.